Welcome back to the Rap Thought Podcast. Another week, another show. More Matthew, more Brandon. We're back.
Great intro.
Yeah.
We're back with this week's episode. But before we get into it, we want to thank all of our listeners out there. Even if this is your last time listening and you're just tuning in because this album is your favorite album and then you're never going to listen to us again, we still appreciate you.
We do, and I hope, we definitely do. But come back. Stop listening.
Yeah, you never know. We might cover one of your other favorite albums.
You guys are really liking that intro at Eminem, which I think is really funny. But, I'm looking at, I don't know if you watch Pitch Meeting or Honest Movie Trailers, but I personally only watch the ones for the movies that I've seen. So I totally understand. Mm-hmm. I don't really want to watch one of those for a movie I haven't. But I don't want to watch ones for movies that I haven't seen because I don't want spoilers. But I don't know if music works that way at the same time.
Can you spoil music? I don't know.
I feel like on the music would be on the flip side where you'd want to hear like, oh, hey, that actually sounds really interesting and not what I thought this artist would be about.
I think it's the opposite with music. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Because if we talk about the content in a song, it's not ruining the surprise of the content. Like, you're not going to not listen to the song because, I already know what it's about. I don't need to listen to it. Mm-hmm. It's a listening experience, and it doesn't matter if you already know what it's about. You still have to experience it.
Agreed. The only exception would be To Pimp a Butterfly. I guess as a forewarning, if this is the only one you hear and you're like, I'm going to listen to that one next, definitely don't. You should probably listen to that album first before you listen to us. But, we'll get to that at some point.
I don't know. I think because we'll do the album.
Yeah.
Not, whenever it comes up, whenever it's ordained for us to do it.
Like there's been an album that hasn't because you fucked up last week.
But I think because it's such a rich album, when we talk about it, I think if it'll grab your attention enough where you're like, okay, I really want to listen to this now because of the depth and the way that we go into it, as opposed to, I don't know, people are going to just be like, that doesn't sound like an interesting album. I'm not even going to tune in. So, I think it will push people to listen to it more. But who hasn't heard that album? If you're tuning into this podcast, you've heard To Pimp a Butterfly. I'll put money on it.
Have they?
Most people.
Okay.
I'd say 90%.
And I don't mean it like we're above or anything, but that's...
No, if you're into hip hop, you've listened to that album. It's like that. It's not an elitist thing.
Oh yeah, definitely not. It was just more. I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I hear it. I hear you. Yeah. This week.
All right, let's get into this week.
Yeah, this week. This week we're doing Slum Village Fan-tas-tic Volume 2. And it's a cool album. Cool.
It's a great album. It came out in the year 2000. And already by that point, there's already been a big shift in hip hop. We have the P. Diddy era. Shiny suits, money, cars. That's starting to take over hip hop. And so now you have Slum Village kind of rising from the underground. And they're almost like spiritual successors to A Tribe Called Quest. They're the Midwest version of A Tribe Called Quest. And you'll later on this in one of the songs that Q-Tip is featured on, we'll cover that, and we'll get to see almost like a passing of the torch.
I want to kind of throw in my perspective because growing up in the 2000 era, I do remember that P. Diddy scene and just all of that, and Busta Rhymes and stuff, and a lot of some of the last albums we've been reviewing over, whether it be Common's a good example, and this one that we're about to do. I feel like these ones didn't get as much press and as much showing as the other ones. I feel there's kind of two sides. I feel like I missed out on Slum Village, and I've heard of them, but I never gave them the time of day and listened to them. But I can name numbers of other songs before I would name any other Slum Village song. So why do you think that how did the mainstream media just completely blanket over the scene to where people like me missed out on Slum Village?
I think they're just underground. I mean, they released independently. It's not as if they were on a major label. You know, it's not that they weren't pushed by Interscope or Universal or Atlantic, any of these big labels. They're independent out of Detroit. But because they have J Dilla, who's almost like he kind of operates beyond the mainstream underground, whatever, just because of how talented he is and how much of a genius he is with the production. He operates outside of that. So I think Slum Village is fortunate to have J Dilla do their production, because if they didn't, there's no way they would be noticed on this kind of level. Because at this point, J Dilla's already done production for major artists. He's worked with Common, he's worked with, The Roots, with Tribe Called Quest, with all these bigger artists. J Dilla has been producing with them, so he's known around the industry. And then you have his group that's kind of, they took the Tribe Called Quest sound, but they kind of created their own sound with it. And this is kind of where neo soul comes from. You have the neo soul movement with Slum Village, Erykah Badu, Questlove, D'Angelo. They're coming up with this new sound, and Slum Village perfectly fits into that. And I think it's because of J Dilla for the most part. So, I mean, in a long way of answering you, I think this was just, it was too far left for the mainstream. It's a new sound. Most people aren't, it doesn't fit in with the current era of hip hop. It's definitely to the left of that. But it doesn't mean it's not great. And
no, not at all. And that's the thing, is that it is great, but it didn't get
right.
the
And
spotlight.
You look at the features on this and you're like, wow, how did this not have more attention? It's Busta Rhymes, Q-Tip, D'Angelo. It's Pete Rock. Like, they have a great feature list on here.
It's amazing. I mean, and that's where I was saying it's kind of that double part, because it gets overshadowed, but then at the same time, how old was I in 2000? Like 13, 14? I don't remember.
Right.
But I wouldn't have appreciated this.
No.
I wouldn't have looked for this.
No, and I definitely did not know Slum Village that early on. Mm-hmm. I didn't get into Slum Village probably till 2006, 7. So it's definitely after their height, and so I was definitely behind. I wish I had known them when they were coming out. It's for being 13 years old. Unless you have an older brother who's really into underground hip hop, I don't see how you would find out about this.
Yes, it's not going to happen. I mean, it's cool because I remember this dude I went to school with, Sean. Like, he was super into J Dilla, and I remember him really pushing him. And then in high school, I think that's what I'm thinking of, is in high school he was really pushing him. And it wasn't really, I mean, but then again, I didn't have a computer. I didn't have internet. This is not something, how would I look this up?
Right.
It's like, okay, J Dilla, burn me a disc or burn me a CD and I'll check it out.
Right.
And, until that happens, nothing happens. But I think that's why, like, I missed out on a lot of this music, because I didn't have the resources to go and look that stuff up. I can't go and buy an album because they're expensive. Money's tight. I'm not going to spend $20 on an album that I may not know. I'm going to wait. Yeah. I'm going to spend that on 50 Cent, though.
Right.
So, because I know his shit
true.
slaps.
You're going to buy what you know. And it's the same thing with when you buy anything. You want to know what you're buying.
Right.
You want to know that you're going to enjoy the content. But you know what's funny? When I was listening to this, and because I like to buy records, and sometimes when I think of records, I'm like, I do think of it like that. Like, I'm getting my money's worth. I want to buy something that, take, for example, this album. It's 21 tracks. It's all produced by J Dilla. Every song, has a great beat. I can vibe to it. I don't, lyrics and whatever aside, just the sound of it is amazing. So for me, it's worth to buy this for $30 for the vinyl. Mm-hmm. Just for that fact. I'm getting 21 classic J Dilla beats.
Here's another one,
that's
too.
Value.
Back then, did you listen to full albums, or did you only listen to the singles?
Back then, what do you mean? Like what?
In 2000, when we were teens, pre-teens.
I definitely remember listening to albums, putting in a CD and letting the CD rock all the way through. Definitely did that.
I didn't do that. If I heard a song, like I would more ask a friend for a mix than I would for, hey, burn me this. But there were certain artists back then, like I'm gonna listen to Exhibit, I'm gonna listen to Eminem, I'm gonna listen to The Chronic. But I mean, I still, even when I think of 2001, The Chronic 2001, I don't think I was listening to it from front to back. Like
Right.
I'm focusing on all the hits on that. The whole album is a classic, but there's only like 5 or 6 tracks that I'm really playing on rotation. But now it's like there's other songs on there. Great.
I think as you get older, you want to listen to the whole album front to back to fully understand the album. I think. I mean, when you're young, you're not really thinking like that. You're not thinking of the overall theme of the album.
In my shoes, I just want the hits. Like I just
Right.
want to like nod my head to something. But I agree with you. Like when you get older, you start to realize, or whenever age, when you become a mature age, I guess, like you start looking at what is this artist talking about and how are they reaching out to me in a sense. How can I connect to this? So this is where we can get into this album, where even though it's from 2000, from front to back, it's very aesthetically pleasing to the ears, going all the way through. Today,
Yeah.
right now.
That I definitely wrote that down. I'm a huge J Dilla fan, so his production is on a different level. It sounds, futuristic almost. Like it's timeless music.
It's timeless, and there's just this artistic craft that's in each song, and we'll definitely go into that. But just to bring it up, I mean, there's the first like 2 or 3 tracks where it's like skipping, and you're like, "What the fuck's going?" Oh, this part of the track. All right, it's not my CD. And when he's implementing lines from something and just plugging them in perfectly to match when someone's rapping, and then that comes in and takes over and finishes their sentence.
Right.
It's awesome. Like there's
Yeah.
it's very creative.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that said, I think we should get into the album.
Let's jump in.
Yeah, let's jump into the intro.
Let's jump in.
Fan-tas-tic Volume 2.
Oh wait, hold up. Beforehand, we gotta talk a little bit about the people who we're listening to, because there's a
Okay.
lot of changes. So the group, the original members are T3, J Dilla, and Baatin. And there's a little bit of shuffling around because J Dilla left the group in 2001 after they released Fan-tas-tic Volumes 1 and 2. He left to pursue his personal career. As Matt mentioned earlier, he already kind of made a name for himself by doing production for various bigger name artists. So when he left, Elzhi came in, but also when Elzhi came in, Baatin left because he had health issues. And I think he was, if I remember right, he was diagnosed with bipolar or schizophrenia, I think it was. But he had a couple serious mental health issues.
Right.
But he got his act together, was able to get it together, and then came back for a little bit for an album.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, both he and J Dilla passed away, as we know. So J Dilla passed away in 2006, Baatin passed away in 2009. And during that, Illa J, which is J Dilla's younger brother, came in to kind of give that J Dilla sound as T3 wanted. So right now, T3 is the only original member, along with
Still in the group.
that's still in the group.
And they're still active.
They just released an album in 2016. And if I remember right, you'll have to correct me on it, 2015 they released 2 albums, I think. It was a part 1, part 2, and I believe they released those for free in anticipation of their upcoming album, which I think was 2016.
So they released Evolution in 2013, Yes in 2015, and Volume 0 in 2016. Those are their official albums. And then they released 2 mixtapes in 2012 and 2013, Dirty Slums 1 and 2.
Those might be the ones I'm thinking of.
Yeah, those are mixtapes.
Okay.
And then they did drop an EP in 2014. So yeah, they've been active for sure, and I still see them around. I still see them do features and stuff like that. T3 and Illa J. Illa J has got some dope stuff on his own.
So for this album, this is the original 3 members, and this is their last album before they all broke up.
Yeah.
So just some interesting history on that. But yeah, we get into the intro, and throughout this album, it's not. I wouldn't say it's conceptually dense at all.
No.
I feel like the production highlights the majority of the album, and the lyrics kind of carry it. The production carries the lyricism.
Yeah, I feel like the lyrics just fill in gaps.
They fill in the gaps. Like, it just makes it so you're listening to something along with
Yeah.
the beat and everything.
And, as much as I love deep conceptual lyrics and I love depth, I also do love hip hop like this. That's just rhyming for the sake of rhyming. You don't have to think too deeply about it. And yeah, it's not the best content, but if it's over the right production, I love it.
Yeah, and like we're getting at, it's not even that it's terrible or that it's bad. It's just I feel like a lot of our pods we've been pulling stories out of the albums that we've been doing. You're not really going to get much of a story from this,
Right.
but there's like enough stuff where you're like, okay, this dude raps cool, I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's an excellent beat to it. Yeah, I can't skip
Right.
this song. That's kind of my takeaway from the whole thing. So, but what I was getting at was like, there's just a lot of hip hop in, as I've said, in a lot of previous tracks. And so just going forward, that's what you're mainly going to hear. So it's what you hear in the intro. They're invading our playpen, and I didn't feel violated in them doing so. I was okay with it. It was cool.
Yeah, definitely sets you up for the mood of the album.
But there's a lot of skipping, and this is where you want this. It's just different. Like you want to, even though it's a short intro and there's not really much to it. It's just that art that's behind this, and J Dilla like really honing in on his craft.
And the beat on this is a continuation from a beat on Fan-tas-tic Volume 1.
Oh,
So they're continuing from that album straight into this album. If you listen to them front and back, you wouldn't know that they're two different albums. Like, they're very similar sounding.
yeah. And then the next one, Conant Garden. I'm going to butcher that one a little bit, but they're just basically putting themselves on the map. That's where they come from. And
Yeah, I'm assuming Conant Garden is just kind of an area in Detroit where they're from, and yeah, they're just talking their shit, letting you know where they're from, letting them know what they're about. They're about making money, smoking, getting girls, and making better hip hop than everyone else. So it's simple concepts, but I just love the flow on this. I love J Dilla's flow. I think J Dilla is super underrated as an MC. He's not going to spit intricate lyrical bars at you, but I love his laid back flow, and it fits so well in his own beats.
I'm going to throw 3 at you. So I'm going to say, and these are producers / rappers. You have J Dilla, Pete Rock, and High Tech. Worst to greatest in terms of combination of your lyricism.
Well, I can't recall High Tech rapping. I'd have to listen to it. I can't remember a song that he was rapping on. But just between J Dilla and Pete Rock, I'm going J Dilla.
Okay.
J Dilla has albums of just him rapping.
So does Pete Rock.
I don't think he has as many as J Dilla. He's done a
Probably
few.
not as many, but I'm just going off of I think I agree. I mean, I'm thinking bars probably. I would probably go Pete Rock, J Dilla, and then High Tech.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's just like this thing. There's that stereotype with producers that can't really rap, but they can. They can. But
Alchemist can rap. I don't mind his rapping.
I don't know if I've heard of his. I don't know if I've heard him rap.
Yeah, it's not bad. I like it.
And then there's Dr. Dre, who apparently has ghostwriters.
Well, he does have ghostwriters, but
Allegedly.
One rapper that we've never really heard, not rapper, one producer that we've only heard spit one line, and that was on the Prime album, is Premier.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't rap. I think he knows he can't rap, so he doesn't even bother.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the album. So after Conant Garden, we go into I Don't Know.
Dude, I mess with I Don't Know.
Yeah. Oh, man, I love this. I love this song. I love the beat. They're just talking about girls who are high maintenance, and they're messing around with them, and but it's like a very low key beat. It's very chill, but it's a great song.
Yeah, man, they just keep messing with these scandalous girls. Like, I don't know why I keep fucking with you. Like, I just don't know. And we've all had that in our lives. Just like, man, I don't know why I keep doing this. But here I go again. So, but it's cool. The beat is just very like up tempo, and it's just you kind of think about it. Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know why I keep doing this. So it's it was cool.
They don't. I feel like Slum Village for the most part doesn't take themselves too seriously.
There's a lot of humor in there.
There's a lot of humor. I mean, they do at certain points get serious, and they have a diss track and whatever. But they also talk about the lighter things. They talk about girls a lot in a fun way, and they talk about just out rapping people. And, they're not always like this hardcore hip hop group.
It's kind of like a lightened version of the '90s hip hop albums that we've done, where they're just KRS-One or Queen Latifah going 10 tracks straight of just I'm a better MC than you are. Here it's just like, yeah, I'm better than you. Yeah. And here's some other stuff too. So it's just a lot. They do it and it's like, oh man, they're better than me. Okay. Yeah. So it's fun. It doesn't, I don't know. When I was listening to the next song, Jealousy, I was like, it kind of goes together, but then kind of not. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it was this one. But I like the first line, if you make moves, some people envy. And I was like, man, like that's people, because they reference haters a lot in this album.
Right.
They really shout out to the haters. And so I was like, yeah, man, people don't like the moves I'm making. That sucks. But
yeah, I feel like they say, all three of them in their lyrics, they say really simple things, but in like a cool way. Mm-hmm. Or just in a subtle or laid back way, but it's dope what they're saying. It's just not in your face, or it's not so obvious. It's just kind of under the radar a little bit.
Who of the three, who do you feel gave you the best tone of what the track was talking about throughout the whole album?
I feel like Baatin did really well with that. Like he was usually on topic and straightforward with his lyrics, and I love his flow. I think they all have a great flow. They all work really well together.
They all bring a different ingredient.
Yeah.
And it makes for an awesome flavor. I like that descriptive shit. Anyways, like for me, I resonated when I finished the song, I'd be like, man, like who killed it on that verse? Not like better than anyone else, but just more like who really rocked that and told me what the song was about. Right. I leaned more towards T3 throughout the album, but there were some where Baatin came in, but he was always kind of third for me. Like if I'm gonna rate them, it's lyrically, it's gonna go T3, J Dilla, then Baatin. That's kind of how I felt for the whole album. But they were all cool. I liked listening to all of them. There's, I think, times where I thought Baatin, like his rhyme scheme was a little different, because I'm just used to like, no, this next word needs to rhyme with the last one.
Right.
But it was still cool.
Differently.
Yeah, it was still cool to listen to though. Mm-hmm. But I liked it overall. But yeah, I mean, in this song, they're just calling out the haters. And I asked you that question because I put down that I like T3 verse best, because I felt like he really told me what the song was.
Yeah.
So, climax.
Girl shit.
Girl stuff. Ew, gross. Actually, my order might be a little weirder than yours because there is, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, there's some funky track listing issues with this album.
So
I think it's because it's been re-released a few times. So
yeah. So excuse us if we have some stuff, but we'll get through this and it's all good. But in short, I just put perspective three-way in the works.
Yeah, right. See, this is what I mean by being, funny. Like they're all trying to have a threesome, in their own way, and they're talking about it and how they go about talking to the girl to have a threesome.
Yeah, they're very respectful about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they know that. You almost have to know that it's up to the girl that to make the threesome happen. So you got to make her feel comfortable so that she can reach out to the other girl to get her involved. You know what I mean? You have to put the girl to work. You can't get two girls. Like, you can't put in that word.
Hold on, Matt. Let me write this down. You
Yeah,
seem to know what
write
the
it
fuck
down
you're
right
talking about. But yeah, like they're just all given that experience of it happening and everything. There's another song that we'll talk about later where they just basically get cock blocked. So I kind of like the whole picture that it paints of like they're not. And this is cool. I'm gonna float around quite a bit, but I mean, in our unofficial kind of business statement of like kind of portraying that hip hop artists aren't always out there to objectify women or promote misogyny. And this song, I feel like is in there, even though it talks about a threesome, it's really like in jest of talking about typical guys' dreams of getting two girls at the same time.
Right.
And it's not done in any type of like malicious
Right. They're not being
way.
derogatory towards the women participating.
Mm-hmm.
They're being inclusive and saying, hey, we're adults. We can have a threesome. What do you say?
Inclusive. That sounds. Hey, I'm just trying to include everybody. Love for everyone.
Right. One last thing on this song. I love the drums on the drum pattern on this song. It's super dope.
The drums?
Yeah.
I'm listening out for them. The beat is just mellow in general. Like,
Yeah, it's sensual. That's what I wrote down. It's a sensual beat. Obviously, for the content, you have to put the girls in a sensual mood. If you wanted to make the threesome work, you gotta put the work in.
Matt, maybe you can like, put a post up and help these dudes out.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe. I've never had one myself, but
it sounds like you have.
Because I've thought about how to make it work, but I never tried it. I never tried it out, so don't listen to me.
No, but that's a start though. So I mean, we could try that and then see how it goes. So
Just put the song on; it'll work.
put the song on though. It'll work itself out. You don't have to do anything. So, but yeah, man, hold tight to those feelings. Hold tight to what's important to you. Hold tight to what Matt has to say. That's the next track, minus all that stuff.
Yeah. So I mentioned it in the intro of the podcast. Slum Village is pretty much a spiritual successor to A Tribe Called Quest, and Q-Tip flat out says it in his verse. He says he's passing the torch to SV. He says in his first couple lines, he's over the music industry. He's done. He's sick of dealing with labels and shit. So he's like, you know what, SV's got this. I'm gonna let them run with it. They're bringing that real hip hop. They're doing it the right way. And it's kind of funny. J Dilla is very similar to Q-Tip. He's in the group. He's the producer, and he raps. Although I would say Q-Tip's a much better rapper than J Dilla.
Yeah.
But J Dilla is at Q-Tip's level or a little bit above in terms of production. But they are very similar in how they, produce hip hop and are involved in it.
This song was dope. Just all around. I feel like I had to listen to it a few times to really get a hold of what they were talking about. I mean, what I ran away from it though was just to chill out and relax, to hold on to what you have. And, they talk about dude, I don't want to pull the tool out. I'd rather not if I don't have to, but I will.
Right.
And just kind of telling yo, dude, just hold tight to what you got. Chill, let me be and let me stay in my own lane. So that was kind of the feel that I got for it. And I like how Tip kind of shouts out, gives a lot of props to not only his own group, but to Busta Rhymes, to Slum, and as you said,
And
passing
D'Angelo.
the torch. And D'Angelo, stay on the drums. So
I think
was cool.
He's shouting out, the people that he really respects, and a lot of them are part of the Soulquarians. That's kind of when this was happening around that time. Dilla, we've talked about them before, but yeah, it's dope. I love when artists shout other artists out. I think it's a dope thing that's pretty much exclusive to hip hop. You don't really hear that in many other genres, where they'll take time out on a song to shout out other artists that they respect or that they work with.
I really thought that was cool when Joyner Lucas did that for Will Smith, because
Yeah,
that was cool.
yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah. I think from that one, I liked Q-Tip's verse best out of that one. Sometimes with group music, I kind of I like to underline who I thought carried the song best and really told me about what it was about. And so if it's not a competition, but I would give ups to Q-Tip for helping me understand what the track was about. So I like that. He just had a good verse, good flow. It was cool. Tell me. Tell me.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you. Don't you worry.
Telling me shit. So, we talked about this, I think, when we did Common's album, but I didn't realize that D'Angelo produced. And so I've listened to his albums. I've listened to Voodoo. I listened to the other one that I can't remember.
Black Messiah?
No, I didn't listen to that one.
Okay, you need to listen to that.
I should listen to that. But I mean, it makes me want to go back and listen to certain things. It's like when I heard this song, I was like, oh shit, if this is a D'Angelo production, I can name all sorts of songs that he's done. Like that's I love that sound.
Right.
Yeah, he's amazing. So,
yeah, and he kills the hook on this. Obviously, he's an amazing singer. I love his voice with this type of beat. You know, he can do the R&B, soul, neo soul sound. When he's on a hip hop beat, it sounds just as good. And I wish he would do it.
Yeah, I don't know. He's amazing. I mean, my first intro to D'Angelo was from the Space Jam soundtrack.
Hell yeah, dude, that was a great soundtrack.
It's an amazing. We should do an episode on that one. We probably should. It's a great. We should do like a great soundtrack.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, like he's dope. But the song's cool too. I mean, it's another. It's funny because it comes after. Couple songs up from Climax, but it's in a completely different direction because I think of Climax as like my dreams. I want this threesome. It's cool. But then you kind of get Tell Me, which is more real life of like, hey, yeah, like I got this girl, we chilling, but like I'm not trying to push anything. We'll go at your own pace. Right. I'm not trying to force you to do anything.
Like, tell me that you're interested so that I know where we can take this.
Exactly.
So I can make my move.
Exactly.
J Dilla's, I really liked his verse. He says, yeah, say what you feel what you say. Don't hold back. It's real that way. Take the time and the time it takes. Baby, you can justify. You ain't got the time to waste. Speak up. It's not the time to play. It's basically saying just, take your time. Don't hold back anything. And then speak up. And, we won't waste any time playing around. Like, we'll get to what this really is.
Yeah, you get a hint of I would love for this to happen ASAP, but you don't get the feeling that he's being like assertive with it.
Right.
And it's like I would love for it, but whenever you're ready. I don't know. That's what I got from the track.
I'm sure he says it in a much cooler way in real life.
Nah, man, he sounds like a square when he says it, I'm sure. So, but it's a solid track and definitely another one of those arguments for, not misogynistic, not objectifying women. It's in there.
But it's also not pandering to women either. It's real. Like you said, it's real life thoughts that men have when they're dealing with women. It's not a characterization that you get in a lot of songs where it's like, fuck you, bitch. If you're not with me, then fuck off. Like, it's not aggressive like that. And it's also not like, oh my God, I love you so much. I'll do anything for you. I'll like LL Cool J, I'll have donuts for you in my house.
Dude,
like,
there's nothing wrong with having taking her out for donuts and water or whatever the hell it was.
So this, I feel like, is just super realistic. It's probably what's most common.
It's more accurate and definitely more respectable. Yeah. So I dug that song. Then we kind of changed directions with what's it all about. But it's got Busta Rhymes. They're just hip hopping. They're just having a good time. Let you know what's up.
Yeah, it's a hype track. They're all talking their shit. Busta is recognizing Slum Village. He's shouting them out. He's like, I recognize these guys as, the next big thing in hip hop.
Did you like the beat?
I did. Yeah, I thought it was a dope beat.
Yeah. I liked it. I liked it. It's just not really one that I'm like, oh man, that was dope. But it was cool.
It's definitely, I think it's a different style beat. Most of the other beats you can almost put them as the neo soul style. And then this one is a little bit more upbeat, more electro.
Definitely a throwback
Detroit
to electric.
Because you got to remember, house music was big in Detroit.
You get elements of that,
especially in the '90s. So I'm sure J Dilla was influenced by that.
Yeah. Fourth and Back.
Yeah, and so Fourth and Back. This is an alternate version from the first album. The original version is amazing. I love the beat on that one.
I don't think I caught the original one.
The original, it's not on the album. It's on the.
Did you listen to it for this one?
No, but I've heard it before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like the original way better. It's more neo soul. It's more laid back, like super chill. But yeah, this one, it wasn't my favorite beat for sure.
It was okay. I mean, I noted that I liked. They kind of do this slow, choppy kind of rapping that I respect. I just thought it was a nice flavor to the track.
Right.
And then I like, again, similar to the intro, how they bring back the skipping in the track too.
Right.
So it's just, a beat's always going to be a beat, but when you can do these subtle things to kind of pick it, that it makes it stand up in a lineup, I think it's pretty cool. So I just like the effects of that. So I like that.
Pretty cool track.
Ooh. And then here's where I may get a little choppy. So the next track is Untitled / Fan-tas-tic. And I may have messed that one up. What did you think of it?
I really liked Baatin. I keep saying his name wrong. Baatin's verse. He says, Baatin is the one who's in the tree of life. Hold tight. Don't ever give up the fight. Grace can only come into the sight. Soul power, it ignites like the sun. SV dominates the industry for fun. Yeah, I think, he's just talking about, I'm living life. I'm not going to give up. I'm holding tight onto what I love. And he's got the soul to light up the industry, and with Slum Village, they're just doing it for fun, but they're still making great music and they're dominating. They feel like they're putting out better music than anyone else at the time. So yeah, I thought it was a cool track. And then when it switches to Fan-tas-tic, that's actually a continuation from a song from the first album, Fan-tas-tic Volume. The song is Fan-tas-tic 3, where they just repeat the lines Fan-ta. So with like just that choppy, like you're saying, that choppy flow. So they kind of just took that from the first album.
So yeah, I'm gonna correct myself. Everything that I was saying on the last one, I meant to say for this one with the skips and all that. So that's where I messed it up. Gotcha. But yeah, I like how I like the skips. Basically, yeah, if you ain't fucking with their group, then you're on some Sandman shit. I like that line. So you're just sleeping on them, and I agree with that. You know, like it's really is, as you were saying, that neo soul kind of sound to it. It's cool. But if you're like me at that time, where you're all hyped up on these radio play, like these number ones, you're not going to really respect these. So I feel like my brain was wired to like that next single that was coming out by these top artists. Right. Where, now that I've not about that life, I can enjoy the slower stuff. And this is definitely on that.
And then Fall in Love is supposed to be next, if you did that one.
I got that.
Okay. So Fall in Love, this might be one of my favorite J Dilla songs ever, or productions that he's ever done. I absolutely love this beat. There was a time when I think it was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I had this song on repeat all summer. It was just one of those songs that puts you in that good mood. Like you just feel good. The beat just does something to you. It's definitely that soul music to me.
I was looking up what song it samples from, because there's an element of You're All I Need by Method Man and Mary J, but it's not sampled in that. But you can hear it, and I don't know. But I agree with you. I really like this track. And some of the things they say in it are interesting too. I thought "Don't Sell Yourself Out for the Things You Love" was kind of a loaded statement.
Yeah. This song, I think, is their most introspective song, where, they definitely look more inwards and kind of thinking about why they're doing what they're doing, and they're almost giving you advice of like, don't sell your soul just to get on or to make money. Really think about what you're doing.
With T3's verse, you don't get a hint of regret or anything like that. But I mean, he talks about how maybe just there were other things if he had invested that amount of time on that he could have focused on getting more money. Because in a lot of hip hop, you hear about someone coming up, there's a lot of just endless nights of just putting in that work and there's no pay for it. And he kind of acknowledges that by saying like, I could have made more money doing other things, but in the end, it paid off to where he's like, man, am I just stealing this stuff now? But you know, he says that like he's doing it for peace of mind in the hopes that the reasons why you do it are genuine. He makes a rhyme though. And I thought that was, in addition to don't sell yourself out for the things you love, I thought that was just kind of a cool thing to go into. It was pretty deep.
Yeah, it's cool to get a track like that from them, you know, in the middle of this album, where before it's just hip hopping and rapping about girls and stuff like that. But then you get to fall in love, and you think from the title or from, you know, the chorus that it's going to be about a girl. Don't set yourself to fall in love, and you think it's going to be about a girl, but it's about don't set yourself to fall in love with, you know, things that could hurt you or take advantage of you.
And that could even be the things that you love, like just putting in too much time in. So it covers a lot of areas, as you were saying, that you would genuinely associate with someone that you're attracted to, because that's what usually this music is about. But it's not. It's just, it can be, even the things you love can be detrimental if you invest too much time into it, and don't take care of yourself. So, that was a cool track. It's probably in my top for takeaways for this album.
I mean, you just have to recognize J Dilla's genius when you hear a song like that, and what he did, you know, the production that he does, and having his own style and sound. It's just unbelievable. And so from Fall in Love, we go to Get This Money.
Get This Money.
This is definitely a headbanger, like a neck snapper. Like, you just want to bop your head to this the whole time.
Definitely. I don't know if it's gonna snap my neck, because I'm more like just chilling.
It's a low key like head nod the whole time. You know, it's, you know, talking about getting money, the ways to get paid. You know, talking about how they're motivated by money to get paid. And yeah, you might look at that as materialistic or shallow or, you know, whatever, but I don't think they're saying they don't love making music. I think they love the result of making music, which is money.
And this, you know, it was actually this one I was thinking of that follows the last track pretty well. Yeah. Unfortunately, when I was listening to this album, Fall in Love wasn't added to this one for whatever reason. And so I actually another clear up I need to make is that the All I Need, Mary J. Blige, Method Man comment that I made was actually to this track. But everything else was fine. But yeah, like I like the chorus. You know, if they say what you gonna do today, get money every day. Like it's just a dope track. But they're just talking about aspirations and goals of getting paid and following that track of you know, it's cool. It was dope. So, but I don't know. I mean, after getting this money, you kind of raise it up. Raise it up. However many times you need to do that. I think they repeat it.
They say it a lot for sure. And I know you don't like that. You don't like the repetition.
You know what? It was fine. Like it was whatever. I think that this beat is probably my least favorite on the album.
Yeah.
And the energy with the raise it up didn't match the beat. Okay. I kind of would have expected something more up tempo. It's like people going raise it up.
Right. That's all the verses were laid back compared to the chorus. But I thought all three of their choruses were cool in that the first verse by Dilla, he says, I don't do any of these things. He's talking about all the stuff he doesn't do. And then T3 comes in and says, yeah, I did all that.
I did that.
I did that, and then Baatin comes in and says, maybe I did that. It's just the 3 different
I
perspectives.
did a couple things here and there. Yeah, I put down the same notes. I really liked this one because of all that, and just kind of like, nah, man, that wasn't me. The beat made me think of like playing Mario and going into Koopa's castle or some shit.
I think this is a little bit more of that electro style
Yeah.
that J Dilla is known to do. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why you weren't a huge fan of Common's Electro Circus.
Oh yeah,
That was produced by Dilla and more of his experimental type production.
Yeah, so like that. D3 comes in saying that perhaps it was him coming in and corrupting your girl and getting this money. Yeah, so I like that one.
Yeah.
So what do you have for the next track? CB4?
I have Once Upon a Time. I went by the track listing on Wikipedia,
Okay.
not on Spotify.
Gotcha. All right. Once upon a time. When this, just a Pete Rock J Dilla production should have you interested enough.
Yeah, just having Pete Rock's name next to J Dilla is okay. One, OG legend with an up and coming legend. And I wish they did more together. I think that would have been dope if they.
It would have been cool.
If they did something like Champion, where J Dilla and Madlib did an album together. That's on the list. I'm going to put that on the list because it's an amazing album. It's basically.
Do that.
Basically, half of the album is J Dilla's production with Madlib rapping, and the other half is Madlib's production with J Dilla rapping. And they put it together. And it's a super dope album.
I'm gonna get shit on, but like it's hard to get into MF Doom's rapping, but it is what it is.
I said Madlib.
Oh, my bad. I was thinking of
You're thinking of Doom. Well, they did do an album together.
that's the one I was thinking of.
Gotcha.
My bad.
No, Madlib.
Madlib.
Madlib's not a bad rapper either. He's pretty underrated as a rapper. Yeah, I'm gonna add that to the list.
I listened to Madlib's album. What's the one with the tread, the tire tread on the cover?
That's it. That's Champion.
Oh, okay.
That's J Dilla and Madlib.
Gotcha. No, that album's dope. I have heard it. I've heard that. So,
Well,
it's been a minute, but I've heard it.
Madlib's got like probably 30 albums, but yeah, that'll be for another ep.
Someday, but yeah, I don't know.
I thought Pete Rock's rhyming was super dope. He killed it.
Pete Rock is dope, man. Like that's why I was saying earlier that I would choose, Pete Rock, J Dilla, then High Tech.
And they shout out, or they say that it's 98 when they wrote this song. And obviously it came out in 2000, but it's just crazy to think that a song from 98 just sounds so good today. It sounds amazing.
It really does, but you have to be in a certain mindset to respect this type of music. Like if you're growing up on today's music and like rap of the last 5 years, I don't know if you're going to respect this. What do you think?
Oh man, it's such a good question. The problem is I do, because I coach college age kids in soccer. So I coach 17 to 22 year olds, depending on how long they're there. And I've briefly talked about music, like when I'm driving the van, and I'll play my music.
Uncle Matt's music.
Yeah, and it doesn't get that good of a response. They're not really into it. They want to hear the newer shit. So next time I want to ask them and see what they think about it, because I usually don't ask. I just play it because I'm like, I'm driving. I don't care what you guys think. You
Dude,
guys
get some
kids.
input, man.
No, and they all wear their own headphones anyway. So. But yeah, next time I'll ask and see what they think about it.
See what the players think.
Yeah, see what the players think.
All right, well, let's go on to the next track of Players.
Oh yeah, this is a classic.
This one's good, man. Like
Classic Dilla beat.
Ooh, I'll have to.
But what's crazy is I've heard this song so many times. I never knew it was a diss track specifically to Proof and his hip hop group.
Oh, really? I missed that.
Proof is in a group called 5 Elements, and this is a straight up diss towards that group for copying their style and calling them whack and all that.
When I was listening to this track, it did seem pretty specific to somebody. You definitely get elements of like, y'all are a bunch of players, you're fake, you're taking our sound,
right?
You run it around the corner and doing your own thing with it. But the artistic part of this track that I really liked was that Baatin had a long verse, and he kind of had an extended one, and then J Dilla and T3 had a short one. Yeah. But then both their verses were basically paraphrased at the end, and I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
just different of like really sending. To me, it's like really sending a message by letting someone have most of it, get your point across. Hey, we said a couple things here and there, but we're going to take the important parts and paraphrase it to the end so that you leave with this taste in your mouth. And I was like, man, I like that. Because with any type of group, it's just everyone has their own verse. Maybe you take one person out and two people go. Maybe everyone takes turns. They go back and forth a little bit. But I thought this was a change, and I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool change.
Yeah. I was thinking today when I was at the gym.
Wow, it's good that you think.
I was thinking in my head, why hasn't Eminem ever mentioned or done anything with J Dilla?
He's mentioned him before.
He's mentioned him? But I was thinking, why did Eminem never try to rap on a Dilla beat or do something? And then when I heard this and I learned that it was a diss track to Proof's group, it kind of clicked. And I was like, okay, Eminem's obviously going to be loyal to Proof forever. That was his best friend.
Man, that's fucked.
No, I'm not saying that's true or not. But
I mean, I agree with
my
you.
Head.
Yeah, I agree with you though, because I've wondered that too. Like I can't think of a track, but I know that I think that Eminem has shouted him out before, just like low key, like
probably after he passed.
After he passed, but like after Proof passed, after J Dilla passed, just kind of like a kind of a tribute thing. But yeah, you kind of wonder like, how come you've never done a track with
Eminem? J Dilla's he's blown up in the 90s. He's done production for Farside, Tribe Called Quest, Janet Jackson. Like he's up there. And Eminem's on the come up in the mid to late 90s.
And dissing everyone.
But, it's just crazy that he didn't link up with J Dilla's production at some point.
So I'm going to have a two-parter for you. So can you, with the tracks, if you think of a generalization of J Dilla's tracks, can you imagine Eminem rapping?
No, but that's why I would love to hear it. Because I can't imagine it. But I think it would be really dope to hear Eminem fit his rapping style with a J Dilla production and what that would sound like.
So now my second part of that question is, I guess this is a part A, part B of my second part question. Have you listened to Infinite?
Yeah.
Now, with Infinite in mind, could you see him rapping on J Dilla's beats?
Yeah, absolutely. And back then Eminem was doing that underground double time flow. It wasn't unique at all, but I think it would have fit onto a J Dilla. But I think Eminem is capable, even now, like if he wanted to rap on some J Dilla beats, he could do it.
It just feels out of character, because, I mean, when he did Revival, but that was more like going towards rock, where it's like, man, this ain't right.
Yeah, it's not neo soul.
Right. No. My point is like he ventured out of his comfort zone and tried something new. So then you kind of wonder like, if you ventured out again and tried neo soul, would that also not work, or could it work? So Infinite,
I don't want a whole album of it. I want to hear one song. I think would be cool.
Be down to hear a track to see how it worked out.
I think if Eminem, the issue was Eminem linked with Dr. Dre, and now that Dr. Dre was going to do the whole album, and subsequent albums. So it's not like there's room for a J Dilla beat on there. It's not like an underground album where you can pull from different producers. Dr. Dre is going to control the whole thing. So if Dr. Dre is not, I can't see Dr. Dre wanting to get a J Dilla beat over his own and a more popular producer.
I'm kind of curious about that, because I mean, I think of at the time of J Dilla's coming up and making a name for himself, why not do that collaboration? So like right now, if he's working with Kanye West, or if he worked with DJ Premier when he put out Compton, why not work with another high level artist, especially from Detroit, that, you know, barring whatever may have happened with their Eminem's and J Dilla's relationship, why not work with him?
Right.
You know?
Well, at that point, J Dilla was in LA and he was just on an underground tip. He was doing his own albums. He was doing Donuts. He was doing the MF Doom, or not MF Doom. He was doing
Madlib.
Madlib was doing the MF Doom, but J Dilla at that time was doing his own album, like solo albums. He wasn't really trying to be, you know, the popular rapper producer like a Kanye West or something. He was really like on his own wavelength, and I don't think he cared about being the most popular producer.
Mm-hmm. I feel that. Just down there producing those funky beats like Eyes Up.
Yeah, like Eyes Up.
Yeah, that's a dope track.
Yeah, really cool song. Like you said, it's a funky beat.
It's the funkiest thing on this album. I don't think it's kind of the only one like it on here. I could be.
Yeah, it definitely stands out on its own, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I like that one. That's kind of all there is to say about that one. It's
just a hip hop track.
Yeah, you don't fuck with the click, basically.
Right.
To You, For You, it made me, I was like, I thought of Royce, because he has For Us, By Us,
right.
For You, Be You. And so I was like, it's any relation, but it's not. Two completely different topics. But this one was just another one of those tracks, just get a feel of unconditional love in this track. Mm-hmm. I don't know. They're making it for her, but she's... Oh, that's right. They're kind of being played in this track. They're about like expressing this love and being cool and everything, but then she's doing some whack shit, to quote what they're talking about. Yeah,
and a lot of it is like they mentioned previously in one of the previous songs about girls, that they're basically saying the ball is in the woman's court.
It's up to you.
It's up to you. If you're down, let's do it. If not, move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But this one taking on that, like where she's being a dick.
Yeah.
Fucking around.
Now you're pushing my patience.
Yeah, now you're pushing it. But not like trying to get in bed, but just like you're really pushing my patience because you're messing around with this other dude. You're playing with me. Like, what do you want?
Yeah, if you're going to be with him, then
go do it.
Yeah, go do it. I'm not going to mess with you.
Yeah, I'm not trying to have that. So, but I like this track. I like
They don't want a threesome in that way.
Right.
They want a threesome in the other way.
Exactly. Too much. It's too much stuff going on. So I like this track. I like the beat to it. It's super mellow. Mm-hmm. But then like upbeat at the same time. I like it. Yeah. So next, do you have CB4?
Yep.
We got CB4.
Have you seen the movie CB4?
I have not seen the movie CB4.
So you don't know what they're referencing?
No. And I was looking.
You should watch it.
Okay.
CB4, Cell Block 4 is what it stands for. And it's with Chris Rock. And it's a spoof on... They're almost making fun of NWA and Boys in the Hood and... what's it other? Menace to Society. It's a kind of a SNL spoof on all those movies and the gangster rapper lifestyle. So you definitely should watch it. It's hilarious.
I mean, if it's any indication from this track, it sounds good. Because, I mean, just after T3's verse, I actually laughed quite a bit. Yeah. And songs don't normally make me laugh, but it's like, dude, he put in all this work.
Yeah, so the movie is Cell Block 4. The song is about cock blocking, so it's Cock Block 4. Mm-hmm. So they kind of did a play on words there.
Nice.
But yeah, super funny track about, they're all speaking about the times when they're cock blocked or, people getting in their way.
But T3, he was putting in like all this shit, and then he was up in there, and then she got the page from her friend, and then she's out and gone, and you're just like, yeah, that sucks. There's another track that I'm thinking of where that happens. I'll think of it later. But I like the reference to he was like filming on her flapjacks, and I was like, okay. I mean, I started like recently using the term apple fritter, but flapjack sounds. It's all gross.
Damn, I want breakfast, man. Flapjacks and
what you trying to eat, Matt?
All of it.
So, but I liked it.
it's
Fellatio,
a funny
Homo
track.
sapiens.
Yeah. Funny hook.
Funny hook. A funny song. It's great. So definitely listen to that one. Definitely go out there and listen to that. So it's another one for the ladies. Go
Yeah.
ladies.
Go ladies. So after they've been cockblocked, they want to motivate the woman
Yeah.
to get with them.
To come back.
Yeah.
Hey, wait, come back.
Yeah, so it's kind of a hype track for girls.
That's what I
Yeah.
had to. It's just hip hopping for the ladies. It's not really. It was a good track, but like there wasn't much to take away from it.
Yeah, it's got a good bounce. Mm-hmm. I like it.
It's kind of a nice transition towards the end of the album. Like you're kind of coming down,
Right.
but still staying on the same stuff that you were talking about beforehand. Go ladies. So it's cool. And then we end the album with Thelonious,
Which we've already covered.
which we already covered
What was that, 2 episodes ago?
on like Water for Chocolate. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you already heard us talk about it.
Yes. Classic. I think I said in the episode, classic Dilla beat, one of my favorites. Yeah, amazing song. I do have to say, I like this song better on Common's album.
You thought it fit better?
I thought it fit better on the album.
I can see that. All right. Fair
This
enough.
one, I think because the album's pretty long, it's by the time you get to it, it's like it doesn't have the same impact. That if this was a 10-track album and Thelonious was one of the like the 9th or 10th track, I think it would have a bigger impact for me.
I can see that. And I just feel like the theme of this track fit better with like Water for Chocolate and what that whole album was about versus this one.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. You get a lot of fantastic things in here, and this was, you can argue it for this one, but it just, if you had this one out, the album would have been fine. If you include this song, the album is still fine. It doesn't make or break it.
I agree with that.
So, yeah, man. Just from kind of queuing back to my own experience, you know, it's weird because when I was listening to this album, I wasn't too familiar. I've heard Slum Village before, but I wasn't too familiar with all the background. Like I didn't realize this was J Dilla's group. So when I kind of tuned in more to when they dropped their album in 2015, I wasn't hearing J Dilla. And so when I first heard it, I'm not going to say I didn't like it, but it like kind of fell flat for me. But then there was this turn once I realized like, oh, this is J Dilla and like, and everything. I was listening to it more carefully because I've always heard about how great J Dilla was. So it kind of like, okay, this is my opportunity to get in on some Dilla. Like I've heard Donuts, I've heard his album. I have a couple of his albums already that I've listened to, but to actually like hear other stuff outside of that was this opportunity.
Definitely.
Like, how great is it?
I think some of his best beats are with Slum Village and Fan-tas-tic Volume 1 and 2. And I think, you know, to really understand J Dilla's greatness, you kind of have to listen to all the productions he did for other artists and how it's so varied. You know, he's covered a wide range of artists that he's done production for, from super underground to mainstream, you know, whatever. You know, he's kind of done it all. And yeah, his solo projects are dope. You know, they're not, you know, the best hip hop albums ever. You know, they got dope beats on them, but I think when you think about J Dilla's, you know, his production's impact on the industry and hip hop in general was massive. You know, I think he directly influenced all the major producers we have today. He influenced the legendary producers from before J Dilla's time. He influenced Pete Rock. He influenced Premier. He influenced Q-Tip. Like directly, and Questlove from The Roots.
So here's a question for you. So all those people that you named, they're all well into their late 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, like the sound that he has, I mentioned a lot, his creativity, his artistry, just what he does to a beat. Is it enough to influence current hip hop people in the sounds that we're hearing today?
You're saying that his past work, is it influencing today's?
Yeah, like can it? Because I
sound?
mean, when he passed away in 2006, I could definitely see a lot of people being like, "Damn," because they were still into that sound.
Oh,
It
you're
was
saying
still-
if he was still alive, would he still have a big impact?
we could change it to that kind of question. I'm just curious of like, is his production? Do you feel that it could influence younger producers that are producing today?
I think so, especially if they're a sampling based producer. You almost have to look at Dilla and study him and the way he flipped samples and what he did to them. A lot of producers today, not all of them sample records. You know, they choose from, they buy kits that have a bunch of sounds already pre-made for them, and then they make beats from that. They're not going and digging for records and sampling sounds that they find. And I think that's what J Dilla mastered, was finding those 2-second long or 3-second long loops that he could turn into, you know, a timeless sample. And that's a skill that not everyone can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to be that type of producer, you have to study J Dilla. I don't think there's a way around it. Obviously, you got to study everyone. You got to study Pete Rock and Premier and Dr. Dre and whoever, but you really got to study J Dilla.
Mm-hmm. Definitely someone that should be on the list. I mean, doing these pods is cool because, you know, I've become a bigger Premier fan, a bigger J Dilla fan. Mm-hmm. Slum Village is definitely on the radar. I mean, I wanted to add too that if you haven't heard of J Dilla, this is a good intro for you to want
Slum
to get
Village
into his
is a
work.
great place to start.
It's a good place to start.
Because that's his group and that's his, you know, kind of base or foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can go out from there and you can listen to a lot of different stuff. He produced a lot of the Love Movement for A Tribe Called Quest. He produced a lot of Like Water for Chocolate from Common.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's had a big impact on a lot of artists.
Yeah, his name's everywhere. It's on a lot of things. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. For me, like, I've heard him here, and there. I've heard Donuts. I've heard a couple other albums. I've heard some tracks. But then to, like, really focus on, like, okay, well, what has he done in a group? What has he done here? What has he done there? You know, and to kind of go back, like, if this is your first time, this could be, and is a great, as Matt said, is a great start to go on from and build on top of.
Yeah.
So, do that.
Yeah. Great album. Go check it out. Go to Spotify, Apple. I'm sure it's all on there. Mm-hmm. Listen to Fan-tas-tic Volume 1 as well. And not to say that Slum Village's other albums aren't good. They are good. They're just not the same members. So they're going to be a little bit different.
And that discussion was specifically to J Dilla. So, like, you know, his influence isn't as prominent as it was in the first two. But yeah, their other works are really great too, though. So definitely keep eyes on them and see what's up.
Yep. So yeah, thank you for listening to another episode of the Rap Thought Podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher. You can find us on social media.
You even got some YouTube clips on there?
Oh yeah, find us on our YouTube page as well. We post up like 3 to 5 minute clips from every episode, so you can actually see what we look like and see our faces.
Yeah. And Matt's covering it up today. If you want to see his stupid hair, that's on there. So
You just look at the last episode. And then I do post the full episodes on YouTube as well, the audio. But I'm a little bit behind on those, so I'm like 2 or 3 episodes behind. But you can definitely listen on YouTube if that's your jam. Then hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're on all of those. And we look forward to the next episode with you guys.
and we'll see y'all next week.
Peace.